Thank you, Olva, and good afternoon, everybody. So my presentation will be a bit different because I'm not going to present you what we are doing and what a defined project, but more a reflection that is being now, which is in place at the level of the agency regarding the numerous research projects in which the agency is being involved at this stage. And well, the question is, how can we really assess and evaluate what is the impact of all these research projects that in which we are involved and which may also take a large number of time and resources. So this reflection is fully in line with our role and primary responsibility to promote and protect public health through the evaluation and supervision of medicine, because for this role, we think that it is important to be engaged in research activity and notably with regulatory science project aiming to improve the evaluation of quality, efficacy, and safety of medicinal products. We are involved in a large number of projects which may have different roles to support research in areas of emerging and innovative sciences, to develop and test methods in the evaluation and supervision of the benefits and risks of medicines, to improve and evaluate the regulatory framework, to develop and test an infrastructure to build capacity for benefit risk monitoring. And one of these last examples is the advanced project, which is on building an infrastructure of vaccine benefit risk studies. And these research projects are being led or coordinated by various types of partners, by academia, by other regulatory regulatory authorities. We are leading at least one project, the Protect project. So there is a large variety of projects, and what we would like to really try to evaluate is can we develop a conceptual framework for the review of the regulatory impact of the result of these projects. And the question to be asked is, have the project achieved their objectives? Are the results good enough to be implemented in practice? Which is the impact on regulatory processes and activities? Which lessons can we draw in terms of investment of time and resources? How can we improve in this prioritization and selection of research projects in which we are involved? And we are starting to use this reflection using the Protect project as an example. So we would like to develop the conceptual framework and test this framework on the outcomes of Protect, and subsequently to make recommendations to EMA and its committees for an appropriate action on Protect results, and in order to give some evidence and some background on why we think that some of these results should be implemented. So we delimited our scope to regulatory science, and I would like to remind these definitions of regulatory science that there is a EMA definition which says that it is a range of scientific disciplines that are applied to the quality, safety, and efficacy assessment of medicine products, and that inform regulatory decision-making throughout the life cycle of medicines. And this encompasses and requires a large number of different disciplines. And there is a definition from the FDA which says that it is a science of developing new tools, standards, and approaches to assess the safety, efficacy, quality, and performance of all FDA-regulated products. So the scope of these projects are those that try to develop new tools and new approaches and new process. So this is not to assess what has been the impact of studies on a defined medicine product. And these are the questions that the task force that we, or the panel that we established at the EMA would like to answer. When are the results matured enough to form a basis to implement changes, regulatory or clinical practice? And depending on the type of outcomes, to what extent should these results or recommendations from projects be validated or replicated by the scientific community, or to what extent should there be a peer review process, extensive peer review process before being implemented? And these questions, there's therefore related to the timing of implementation. Some of these results we may consider that they are very important and should be implemented because they may improve the regulatory process and how we are working. However, if we are going too fast, shouldn't there be then a need for first a validation and a review of these results or replications of these projects? So we are going to use PROTECT as an example, and for those of you who do not know well PROTECT, so I'm reminding you that this is a partnership of 34 public and private partners supported by the Innovative Medicines Initiative joint undertaking, with funding from European Commission and in-kind contribution from FPA. The goal is to strengthen the monitoring of benefit risk of medicines in Europe by testing methods to collect data on drug utilization and also safety directly from patients, enhance signal detection, evaluate methods to decrease variability of results of pharmacoepidemiological studies, and support the integration and presentation of data on benefits and risks. So the PROTECT project is a 5-year project which will terminate in February 2015, and which is delivering and which will deliver a large amount of results and recommendations. And one of the questions that we have is, how are we going to prioritize the recommendations? Which of these outcomes are more important to implement in regulatory practice, and what are criteria to use for such prioritization? And therefore, there is a EMA panel that has been established to try to develop a methodology. And as I said, this is really work in progress. So the scope of this framework would be not to evaluate an intervention, what has been the results of the application of the use of a result or an outcome, but rather to try to prioritize those results and which have an intended target of application. And we think of 3 domains that may be important to address. First of all, those outcomes that may affect a process, so change in process that may be reflected in change in guidelines, procedures, work instruction, or training course. Those that result in change of behavior, so the behavior of individuals or targeted entities affected by deliverables, and the change of outcomes, which means what are the actual actions that may be changed, affected by the results, and what are how can we assess the impact of the result themselves. And we have identified so far, and again, this is really reflecting upon it, a number of indicators that could be used as criteria for identifying those outcomes that may be the most important ones to implement first. First of all, what is the impact of the change and potential impact of the change? What would be the level of benefits brought by the change, consider it the affected stakeholders, and also the estimation of the public health impact of the change that would be brought by the implementation of a result and output. An indicator that we call maturity, which is actually the stage of development in relation to the intended application. And maturity could be inadequate, meaning that it is considered that the output, although it is considered as finalized, may not have reached such a stage of development that it can be communicated and it can be really discussed, because it is not really developed adequately. It can be incomplete, meaning that further development is still needed. For example, independent confirmation, retesting in another setting, validation, and so on. Nearly complete, that there is a need for peer review or that there is a need for minor adjustment, and complete, which means that no further development is needed. We consider that an indicator of feasibility is also important, and One of them is the impact of the implementation of the deliverables in terms of resources. And this may be human, financial, infrastructure, IT, or other resources needed in the current environment. It seemed to us this was an important indicator. The acceptability by concerned stakeholders and how this would be assessed, we have not really solved that question. And alignment with the applicable legislation. This is seemed to be an important criterion, and for us, of course, a necessary criterion. The timing of implementation may be also important, which means the delay within which a deliverable could be implemented, and for example, in less than 1 year, 1 to 2 years, or more than 2 years. This is just a suggestion. The scoring could be semi-qualitative with a visual scale, but we could very well also weight the possible options according notably to the stakeholder that would be concerned and the perspective of the entity that would assess the result of these projects, the patient, the healthcare professional, industry, or regulators. Now, we have tried to use that framework to a first deliverable from Protect, and this is an easy situation, and well, because this deliverable is already implemented, and for 2 years now, and you may know it already. This is the Protect Adverse Drug Reaction Database. This is a structured, downloadable Excel database of all ADRs listed in section 4.8 of the SPC of centrally authorized products authorized in the EU, based exclusively on MedDRA. And it also includes a large number of information that is included in the SPC, such as information on gender, causality, frequency, cross-warning, and sorts of information for areas for which additional information is provided. This database is created through a stepwise approach using automated mapping of ADR terms listed in the section 4.8 with a procedure which is called fuzzy text matching that was developed by Protect and also an expert review. And there is a periodical update. So the result that is intended here is to improve the efficiency of signal detection by filtering or flagging electronic reaction monitoring reports for signals related to unlisted reactions only. So this is really an outcome that is linked to saving resources, time, especially of reviewers, and time of a person who have to perform signal detection. This is also an application in research to facilitate the evaluation of adjustment of statistical signals for known ADRs and of the background, the restriction of the ADRs that are already listed in the signal detection statistics. So we have applied our criteria to this deliverable. If we look at what would be the intended targets, there is some effect, and a good effect on process, but the main impact of these deliverables is on the outcome, and we actually have really objectivated and measured the improvement in time and of the evaluators because we know that it decreased the number of lines of direction monitoring reports that may have to be assessed, and it also allows filtering and flagging the ADR that are already listed in the SPC. So there is also an impact on change, and this time that is being gained can be allocated to a review of more products and a more frequent review of ERMR. So there is a good impact of change. The maturity is good. We can still be improved because we could still improve the procedure and the method to identify which ADRs are listed. There is still some manual work that would need to be improved. Feasibility impact on resources, more or less, because the building and the updating of this table and database still needs at least a third full-time equivalent because of the need to identify when SPC has been changed, which change has been made in the SPC, and then to identify which terms have been added, and then to proceed to the link to the MEDRA terminology. Acceptability, there are no problem. It is very well accepted, and alignment with legislation is also fully in line with the legislation. Timing, we consider that we could still be better in the timing at which the ADR database is updated. There's still improvement to be made. So, as a summary, we are involved in a large number of research projects, which may lead to improvement in pre- and post-authorization regulatory processes, but we would like to develop criteria to prioritize the implementation of the results of regulatory science activities, identify those with highest impact, and also increase the efficient use of resources. This is still work in progress. We intend to analyze systematically all PROTECT outputs. And also we would like at a later stage to, when we are more advanced in this project, to consult stakeholders, because it would be easy, of course, for us who are, especially in PROTECT, who are leading the PROTECT project, to say that it is perfect, we are doing a very good job. So we intend to also to consult stakeholders. Last word is to say that we, in the next month, we will probably announce that we will organize a final symposium of PROTECT with training sessions from the 18th to the 20th of February. This will be open. We are still working on the format of this symposium. But if some of you are interested in that project, you already may check that date, 18th to 20th of February 2015.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.